Hello Leo, and welcome to your new moon lunar cycle insight video for the March lunar cycle, the Pisces new moon. So this is a very intense lunar cycle for all of us. We have Uranus shifting signs just hours before the full moon, at the new moon. We have Mercury going retrograde in Pisces on the final degree of the zodiac the day before. So there is a very simultaneously expansive yet internal energy that is arising, that sets the tone for this coming month of March. So let's have a little look at how these two big shifts are going to affect you personally, Leo. So we'll start with the Mercury retrograde, the Pisces energies. Now Mercury stationed retrograde on the 5th of March and will station direct on the 28th in conjunction with Neptune. And he's still going to be in Pisces for quite some time after that. He's not actually going to leave his retrograde shadow and enter Aries until April the 17th until April the 17th. So we have this really long journey of, emotional releasing, of shedding and letting go, this period of things being quite unclear. And for you, Leo, this gathering takes place in your 8th house. So we have Mercury on the final degree, stationing retrograde. We have the Sun, the Moon, and Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, in conjunction in the mid degrees of Pisces. So there is this kind of overload of watery energy. And for you, this takes place in the deepest, darkest space of your birth chart, Leo, the 8th house, the Scorpionic Plutonian space of the chart, where we die to the old self and we are reborn. So there's a double amplification of this kind of deep soul diving, watery energy. So we can be really looking at going deep, deep, deep into our subconscious, into our old fears and programs and patterning, into our most deeply buried emotions, so that we can be washed clean and we can arise renewed when this cycle comes to a close. So we can be, particularly with the 8th house, looking at themes of sacred sexuality, intimacy, shared resources, the occult, psychic sensitivity, intuition, and of course death and rebirth. So there can be a huge theme for you during these months during this month in particular, of really letting go of the old. Both Scorpio and Pisces really want us to let go of those old stagnant emotions that we have been carrying, perhaps for years, perhaps for lifetimes. Pisces can be a very, very karmic energy to be working with as well. And as I'm speaking to you, as I'm recording, I said that, and the sun just popped out of the clouds and illuminated the room. I don't know whether you can see it on camera. Oh, it's happening again. So it really feels like, and it's raining outside, so it really feels like this washing away, so that more light can come in. But it can feel like a deep process whilst it's happening. So this can be a time of you of turning within, of reflecting, of not being afraid to look at the shadows, not be afraid to look at the hurts of the past, perhaps even the wounds of childhood, the wounds that we carry from old relationships, the things that weigh on our psyche. And we can also be looking at our fears of deep soul connection, our fears of intimacy, our fears of death, our fears of letting go. All of us have a resistance to change. It's the human way. But ultimately, there is nothing that is permanent apart from change, as the old saying goes. So it's being willing to really let go of what is familiar, what is secure, particularly with Uranus changing signs into Taurus as well during this period. So allow yourself to undergo this process of deep emotional, soul level, cellular detoxification. Don't run, but sit and feel your feelings. Allow it all to rise up so it can ultimately dissolve in the ocean of Piscean love. We can bring healing, we can bring forgiveness, we can bring compassion into those things that we think that we can never let go of during this period. So being gentle with ourselves, being gentle with other people, and above all, giving ourselves space to process. Journaling, meditating, talking, communicating with other people can be really helpful during this time. Sea salt baths to purify and purge. Crystals such as aquamarine can help. Morganite can be very, very helpful for clearing the heart and making way for new love to come in, which is ultimately what's happening here. But first we have to do the underworld journey. But things will become much clearer as we head into April. So don't expect complete clarity during this period, but just allow yourself to surrender into the process, which is what I'm saying to every sign, but it's very applicable to you because we've got this kind of double watery cleansing energy going on. So let's have a little look at Uranus now. So you may remember Uranus came into Taurus for a little while last year, between May and September. And as he did so, he crossed your NC cusp, which is the highest point of the birth chart, Leo. It's the 10th house cusp, so it deals with our career, our life purpose, our public reputation, our ambitions, our achievements and accolades. It's the Saturnian, Capricornian space of the birth chart. And as a planet crosses this top half of your birth chart, it also affects the lower half, what we call the IC cusp, the 4th house cusp. So this axis, this 4th to 10th house axis, this core pole in your birth chart, is very much concerned with security and stability. The 4th house is our roots, our physical home, you know, the space where we go to feel safe. It's our inner emotional security. The 10th house is our worldly success, you know, if we're making enough money to make ourselves feel secure, you know, feeling secure in our work, feeling secure in our business, feeling secure in our purpose. So as Uranus, the great liberator, the storm goddess, crosses this space of the birth chart, things can feel very unsteady. It can feel like the ground is shaking beneath us. Perhaps there are changes that are happening that we are out of control of, or perhaps we are just feeling that internal need to break free from what has been holding us back. So as Uranus crosses this space, notice what is rising up for you in these areas of work and home, family and career. And look at what is making you feel constricted or restrained, or the things that you are holding on to out of a sense of security, you know, holding on to out of fear because you can't see what's coming in the future and you are nervous about the changes. You know, what would you change if you had no fear, if you had no worries? All of these things can be rising up. And really this is a start of a 7-year process of revolutionizing your career, revolutionizing your work in the world so that it aligns with your true soul essence. Uranus wants to strip away everything that stops us from fully expressing our authentic self, from liberating ourselves from stuck situations. So ultimately, you know, what he strips away will take us into deeper levels of freedom and expansion. And he wants us to break out of our comfort zone. So if we've been stuck in a rut in these areas of our life, then he is going to jolt us out of that, jolt us into the new. So pay attention to the ideas, to the inspirations, the downloads that are coming in around these themes so that you can start to actualize them as this cycle unfolds. It's a really powerful time. It's a real time of you really coming into sharing who you are with the rest of the world in all of your unique glory. The 10th house is where we are seen, you know, it's where people recognize us in our work, in our career. So for many of you, you know, you'll be stepping out a lot more, you'll be being seen a lot more. Uranus also rules the internet, the online stuff that we're involved with as well. So perhaps, you know, this will be you having more of an online presence. You know, perhaps you'll be breaking away from your more mundane job into doing something on the internet, working with people on the internet. But all of you will be called towards self-sufficiency during this period. Perhaps you'll be, you know, wanting to liberate yourself and become self-employed. Perhaps your home life is changing, which means your work life is changing, or your work life changes, so your home life changes. These two parts of our lives are always interrelated, so they can be, over the next couple of years, shifting and changing to give you more room for growth, to give you more room to embody your soul essence. So I'm going to pick a card for you, Leo, from the Goddess Oracle by Amy Sophia Maharashinki. This is interesting. This card is Sophia, one of the ancient names for goddess, and the card here is wisdom. And that to me is going back to these 8th house, these psychic water energies that I talked about in the beginning, saying, you know, really for you to trust your intuition, to know what needs to be let go of, what needs to be changed, what needs to be transformed. Trusting your own inner guidance to get you through this period of uncertainty. Knowing that you are ultimately connected with the wisdom of the cosmos, if you can just sit and surrender and allow it to move through you. And she's really beautiful. She's got this beautiful crescent moon, new moon on her pregnant belly, this chalice with the dove rising, and there's just this sense of peace here with this card. So it's in amongst the change, in amongst the chaos that may arise for all of us this month. It's about you really having that trust in the divine plan and knowing that whatever happens is meant to happen. You know, we might not understand it on a human level. Pisces energy is undefinable, it's intangible. So it's letting go of our need for control, our own ideas and projections about how things should be, and embracing them as they are. So thank you so much for listening to me, Leo. I'm wishing you a really beautiful lunar cycle. If you wish to connect with me further, check the links below the video. So much love.